We have a couple members that haven't checked in yet, but we do expect both Anna Pineda from Region 1 and Corey Hanamoto, Region 6 DCFS, to be able to join in sometime this morning.
Okay, great. Well, welcome everybody. We'll call the meeting to order for the December CalSAWS Project Steering Committee meeting. So thank you all for being here today and happy holidays to all. And it sounds like we do have confirmation of quorum, and then we'll expect the others to join soon. And John, I think I'll turn it over to you for the agenda review.
We just have one action item today, which is the minutes, but we do have a pretty robust set of informational items. Of course, we want to reflect on wave 1, which continues to be successful, but really start panning our eyes towards waves 2 and 3, while always keeping our eyes on production for our 42. We'll be going through some of our standard item updates, looking at our risks for waves 1 as well as 2 through 6. We do have a technical update and review. How did we perform over the month technically? And then we have a few action items to follow up on: the implementation of the technical help desk, our release and what's going on with our COLA. We have some important updates on that, as well as an innovation that's come from the Office of Data Integration out of the governor's office, and some pilot stuff pilot testing that we're doing with the governor's office of Data Integration with Benefits Cal. Give you an update on that. And then we're going to be talking about some of the environments that we want to, in the not too distant future, make available to both the counties and the public for demonstrations in Benefits Cal, release of functionality. And then we have our updates. So I think we have enough time on the agenda to get through all those items, Cindy, but there are some important informational items to share some information.
Great, thank you for that review. And so now this would be the public opportunity to speak on any items that are not on the agenda. Public comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, except a speaker using a translator shall be allowed up to 6 minutes. The public may also speak on an item on the agenda by waiting until that item is read and then requesting recognition from the co-chair to speak. All lines will be muted when the meeting begins. To unmute, click the microphone icon. If you're connected by telephone, press the *6 key. So at this time, asking if there's any public comments on any item not on the agenda.
Cindy, I do see a hand up. Gabriella?
Gabriella?
Yes, good morning. So my name is Gabby Davidson, and my public comment is regarding the need for a public dashboard for Benefits Cal. We understand that API for data collection and reporting is part of the Benefits Cal requirements. However, even though Benefits Cal is a public-facing aspect of the migration, the data related to its usage is not being shared publicly on a regular basis. As advocates committed to the success of Benefits Cal on an online benefits tool, we believe that access to data is an important part of supporting transparency and identifying opportunities to continue developing the tool. We are requesting that CalSAWS project identify a timeline for when a public dashboard for Benefits Cal data will be made available, and knowing that this request will likely be referred to the enhancement list, we request that in the meantime, CalSAWS project provide monthly summaries of Benefits Cal data broken out by county that include the number of applications submitted per program, the number of renewals in SAR 7 submitted per program, the number of support requests submitted, the number of change requests submitted, the number of Benefits Cal accounts as a percentage of the overall caseload per county, the number of submissions of applications, renewals, and documents submitted by CBOs and Get Cal Fresh, and the summary of the topics and issues identified in the always on survey responses each month. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and for your consideration of these requests as we work together to support people in California who need these services.
Okay, great. Thank you for your comment. And I see a couple others, and starting from the top, Shelley, DIEU.
Hi, yes. Hi, everybody.
morning.
Good morning. My name's Shelley Dew. I'm the CalFresh Program Manager at the San Diego Hunger Coalition, and my public comment is regarding the email requirement to access a Benefits Cal account. And we really appreciate the effort going into preparing for the transition into the new statewide system, and we're very excited for the implementation in San Diego County. However, a lot of consumers of social services often represent vulnerable populations that are most affected by digital inequities. Community-based organizations serve clients who have been unable to navigate the benefit system on their own, and many of those clients are often low literacy, low tech, and do not use email. So we've recently heard from assisters in other counties that have navigated to Benefits Cal that they have had to add creation of an email address to their workload for clients to gain access to a Benefits Cal account and social services. So this additional burden really slows down the process for accessible benefits, and for some, it really makes it impossible. This additional business process has caused us great concern considering the influx of customers that we anticipate will need this support in the future when Benefits Cal gets implemented in San Diego County. So I'd like to put into perspective on the challenges people we face face. According to the Pew Research Center survey on the digital divide amongst households by income in the US, roughly a quarter of adults with household incomes below $30,000 a year, 24% say they don't own a smartphone. So about 4 in 10 adults with lower incomes do not have home broadband services, 43%, or a desktop or laptop computer, 41%. That's pretty high. And also just 25% of adults 65 years or older do not go on the internet at all. The statistic gets larger when income gets accounted for. So these are the populations that we serve, and to ask for an email might seem really basic for us, but it is a tremendous barrier to overcome. So we're proposing a few solutions as advocates. Just to increase access, and we would like for Benefits Cal to include a phone number option for people to sign up, and for allowing just a username creation via verification via phone number instead of the email address requirement. And we know that some people will still experience barriers even with these alternatives, but if we're able to create supportive access for assisters, we hope that even clients with the most barriers can get the help. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and for your consideration of these requests as we work to support people across California accessing these services.
Great. Okay, thank you for your comment. Next, I see hand up for Lily Dorn.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Committee members, my name is Lily Dorn, and I'll be providing public comment on behalf of the Community Clinic Association of Los Angeles County, also known as CCLAC. We appreciate the hard work of all stakeholders involved in launching the Benefits Cal system in LA County, and we are grateful to the CalSAWS project for the numerous resources and advocacy efforts to date to help ensure CBOs can successfully navigate the Benefits Cal system. CCLAC member health center organizations serve over 1.7 million patients per year, 62% of whom are covered by the Medi-Cal program. We appreciate the opportunity to provide public comment in regard to Benefits Cal system enhancements as it relates to the unwinding of the PHE declarations. As we plan for Medi-Cal renewals to resume next year after the COVID-19 public health emergency ends, we anticipate many health center patients will seek assistance in completing their renewals and submitting needed documentation through Benefits Cal. We also are planning for a surge in new enrollments ahead of and following the next Medi-Cal expansion to all adults regardless of immigration status by January 2024. To help strengthen the functionality of Benefits Cal to more explicitly reflect the anticipated Medi-Cal enrollment and renewals environment in the coming years, we're presenting the following recommendations for the committee's consideration. 1, enhance the availability of information on the Benefits Cal website related to the submission of Medi-Cal renewals and address verifications in preparation for the unwinding of the PHE, resumption of new renewals, and another expansion. Currently, information about making a change of address and filing a redetermination is buried in the help section of the website and is difficult to find. 2, improve the accessibility of the Benefits Cal search bar by allowing for the search function to explicitly appear on the site's main webpage to prioritize basic accessibility and functionality. 3, examine ongoing challenges for consumers to request a change of address through the Benefits Cal portal to assess whether challenges are related to technology or existing business structures, processing structures, so we may better understand prospective solutions. 4, allow for health centers and other CBOs to submit a change of address on behalf of their clients and patients through the Benefits Cal portal. And finally, 5, ensure the design of the integrated release of information expected to become available in May of 2023 is not further delayed, and guarantee the design allows for health centers and other CBO partners to provide direct and timely assistance to the communities they serve. We certainly want to be an effective partner in ensuring our member health centers are equipped to ensure community members obtain and retain Medi-Cal coverage and other public benefits. So we certainly appreciate the scale of what CalSAWS is responsible for, and we recognize the consortium as a critical partner in improving the health of our communities. I thank you for the opportunity to share our concerns and recommendations and look forward to working together to advance timely solutions for the communities we serve.
Great. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Next on to Marcia.
Hi, yeah, good morning. My name is Marcia, and I'm speaking on behalf of colleagues. Oh, no, you're good. No worries.
I apologize.
So yeah, I'm speaking on behalf of thousands of community-based organizations that are assisting consumers in applying for and maintaining benefits. This morning, we wanted to elevate issues raised by our partners around the document uploading process. We have been hearing a couple of concerning issues, including instances where documents are not found by workers, and if they are, only the first page is visible. Consumers are receiving failure to provide notices despite submitting documents. Consumers and CBOs are having to resubmit documents multiple times, thus duplicating workload for county workers. And then CBOs and clients are having to call and wait for long periods of time to ensure that their documents are received and processed. Right now, it's not clear which aspects are related to business processes versus technology issues, but we are hoping that the problems can be explored. As we know, one of the key components for workers to process applications is having access to the required verifications. The issues outlined above are troubling because it means that it will lead to an increase in incorrect denials for consumers who will either need to go without the much needed resources or who will end up reapplying multiple times and adding even more workload for counties. The current workarounds of submitting documents multiple times and calling county workers in order to receive confirmation of receipt are adding unnecessary burden to consumers, county workers, and CBOs alike. We would like to know whether this issue is being tracked by the team, and if so, what is the timeline to implement fixes to these issues? And we want to thank you for the opportunity to speak and for your considerations of our requests.
Great, thank you for that. Okay, and I don't see any more hands up. I'm scanning the participants. And so I believe that will be the end of our public comment on items not on the agenda. So thank you for those comments. And then John, I'll move over to the action items from the last meeting minutes.
Very good. And just to make a note that Corey Hanamoto has also joined the meeting. The minutes were sent out. They're also posted to our public website. There's 2 items that are on the action items. Action item 1, Rachel Fry will be given, or owner will be giving an update later on in the agenda to provide information on opportunity in the future to have a demo app. So CBOs and counties can have some time to be able to utilize offline Benefits Cal or not in a production environment. And the other one is provide more information on the implementation of the release of information and where that's at. That's also on the agenda as well. So both those things will be talked about in the agenda. Otherwise, these are open for PSC comment, questions, or to move approval.
Okay, great, thank you. Oh, got it.
This is when I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
This is Vienna. I second that motion.
Thank you very much. Clarissa, do you approve?
Good morning. I approve.
Thank you. Anna, have you been able to join yet? Okay. Eduardo, do you approve?
Good morning, this is Eduardo. I do approve.
Thank you so much. Rachel, do you
Yes,
approve?
I approve.
Thank you so much. Cindy, do you approve?
I approve. Thank you.
Okay, Elaine,
Yes, approved. Thank you.
thank you. Albert,
Approve.
thank you so much. Sandra,
I approve.
thank you. LaShonda,
I approve.
thank you. And Corey.
Yes, I approve.
Very good. Motion passes. And that brings us to our informational items. Cindy, and I think we have Keith and Duncan that's going to be talking about a Wave 1 update.
Okay, great. Next item, CalWIN Migration Wave 1 status update with Keith and Duncan.
Great. And I believe Arnold, if you wanted to speak to the system highlights, Arnold will be speaking as opposed to Keith. Arnold, if you're there. Okay. Arnold?
And oh, there he is.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I was just struggling to get off of mute. So thanks, Duncan. So yes, I can go ahead and start off with the system highlights. And I'll start with overall that the month of November was we had our initial bump in the road with our issue on Halloween night. The rest of November was actually very stable from a system performance perspective. And I have a slide that highlights that as we go through. So we are constantly looking for ways to improve it. We do know that in the month of December, there were a couple of days where we had delays on analytics and reporting, and I'll be able to talk through those as well. From an overall eligibility worker perspective, the systems across contact center, imaging, and the core CalSAWs have been stable and performant. So from that perspective, the 40 counties, the original 40 production counties, didn't notice the increase of YOLO and Placer, and YOLO and Placer also reported good response times. So we remain stable into the month of December. Benefits issuance is occurring normally. Our priority issues are being triaged on a daily basis. So we are on calls with Placer and YOLO as well as the original 40. So any large scale issues are able to be surfaced, and we have the teams triaging and continuing to provide hypercare. Overall, feedback from Placer and YOLO has been very positive, and really my compliments to Placer and YOLO with their ability to handle such a large migration during the holiday season, and they are doing an absolutely stupendous job. So Duncan, with that, I will hand it over to you for the county support highlights.
Great, thanks so much, Arnold. Consistent with Arnold's feedback, the counties have really been able to make the transition to CalSAWs relatively smoothly. From a project standpoint and migration support standpoint, we don't have any major issues to report. Our enhanced support model is meeting the need of the counties, and we're able as a collected project team to work to support them during this first 60 days post go live. Business, is occurring as normal for intake and ongoing functions, and counties are able to execute on what they need to do to serve their customers. The support inquiries to both the command center as well as the virtual support channel that is part of our enhanced support model have been steadily declining week over week. And that trend towards self-sufficiency seems to be moving where it needs to be, and counties are fully adopting the system and able to use it effectively. In terms of how long the model will be in place for all waves, there's a 60-day enhanced support period, which will conclude at the end of this month. So our model will continue for the next couple of weeks as we shift our focus to wave 2. But overall, the path to self-sufficiency for our counties is well underway, and the model that we've collectively put in place is meeting the need. So with that, I will turn it back to you, Cindy.
I think there's another slide where we just hit one of the risks. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Go ahead.
And I'll go ahead and cover this one. And this is risk 279, which refers to Calhoun counties may not be prepared to reconcile fiscal and submit the state reports timely as they migrate to CalSAWS. The reason why we still have this risk open is because when we converted over, the Placer and Yolo had 1 day of activity on CalSAWS before they had to close the month. So the 30 days prior to that were on Calwin. The 1 day was on CalSAWS. We had to do a hybrid reporting month for October. November is the first month where all activities on CalSAWS. So we are keeping this risk open to provide the support to Placer and Yolo for the first time that they fully process their state reporting requirements. So we are leaning in and helping and answering questions. I fully expect that this will be closed out this month after we successfully complete that. All right, with that, I think we can return back to Cindy for questions.
Okay, great. Thank you for that update. And is there any comment from any of the PSC members? I did have a quick question then. With the new waves that are coming on, the new Calhoun counties coming on, are they being invited to the fiscal, enhanced fiscal meetings just to keep, maybe they have already been included in those, but just want to make sure that once they come on, they'll be able to attend those enhanced fiscal meetings to hear about some of the fiscal updates.
Yes. So the short answer is yes, they are invited to participate, listen to it, as well as we have special or standalone meetings with each of the waves to help them prepare for it.
Okay.
And I can elaborate, Arnold, if you'd like.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so Cindy, that's a very good question. So the process that we've laid out is for the migrating counties, approximately 1 month before they go live, we have the special sessions for those migrating counties. And we'll conduct those state and fiscal meetings on a weekly basis, leading up essentially to the next go live. And then at the next go live, approximately 1 month before they go live, those newly migrated now production counties will move on to the production enhanced communication and meetings respectively. And then the new set of migrating counties will move into the special sessions that Arnold just mentioned. So it'll be a transition much like that.
Okay, great. That sounds great. Yeah, lots of support there. So thank you for that. Okay, any public comment on this item? Okay, here we're seeing none. We'll move on to thank you for that presentation. And we'll move on to the next agenda item, the migration waves 2 and 3 status update.
Thank you and good morning, Cindy and everyone. My name is Catherine Van Nieman. I'll go ahead and begin the Wave 2 readiness update. This right here is the overall critical path. I'm not going to go through this in detail as I'll provide the details on the subsequent slide. But this really is meant to highlight where we are collectively across the project in those core readiness areas on a timeline with those key dates that are underneath the Gantt chart. But let's dive a little bit deeper. If we can go forward one slide, we're going to first focus again on the readiness areas. There are 7 readiness areas, and then there are subcategories that we'll go through in more detail. This view and what is presented in the PSC is as of 12/2, and I will go through and highlight through my verbal update what had changed and again continued and a forward momentum in progress. So starting with the application readiness area, the release for 23.01, the project team is testing that release, and that continues to move forward. And again, that will be in January of 2023 release. For the contact center readiness, all of the IVR contact flows have been reviewed and approved by the Wave 2 counties. And their SCRs for the contact center design to date have actually all been approved. So with this one specifically, Contra Costa did approve their SCR, and the development for the contact centers for all 3 counties continue in development. As far as imaging is concerned, there are 2 core activities that are occurring right now that will be ongoing, and we anticipate that to continue all the way up until cutover for the 3 counties. These are the county export of the legacy images, and then the coordination of Highland to receive and upload those into production. And again, those will continue to move forward. There are no risks or any activities to report this morning. For Benefits Cal, really focused right now on the conversion and the CBO conversion files, as well as the configuration load into Benefits Cal. Those activities continue to move forward and are on schedule. For Central Print, the configuration meetings are complete. The Central Print team is meeting and validating the pamphlets and the fillings that will go in those envelopes, and those continue to move forward as well. The next readiness area is the integration. The integration readiness area is broken into 2 parts. One is the county interface partner testing of their interfaces, and then the second is the state interface partner test. For the county IPT, we are slightly behind. At the time of this report, it was at 60%, but a couple of updates since then. Contra Costa's, all of their 6 interfaces have passed and they continue to move forward. Santa Clara, as of earlier this week, currently has 6 of their 10 interfaces passed. So since this reporting period, 3 more interfaces have passed testing. For Tulare, they now have 6 of 8 interface passed as well, and we continue to move forward. This activity is scheduled to go through the end of this month, and the project team continues to work with the counties on any questions and any remediation that needs to take place. For the state IPT, at the time of this report, 9 out of 11 had passed. Since then, there's only 1 interface that is outstanding, and that is the electronic benefits transfer with FIS, and that continues to move forward. All of these items are on track as well. For conversion, conversion continues to move forward. There will be another more detailed update regarding conversion later on. And then focusing next on this page is the technical readiness area. This is broken into 2 parts. One is the county networking connectivity. All Wave 2 circuits have been delivered, they're activated, and we will see that this activity will be moving towards complete in the next for the next iteration that we have for the meeting. For performance testing, that continues on schedule for the 45 counties. It's in progress and again continues to move forward without any hiccups. If we could move forward 1 slide. The next item that we wanted to walk through is the training readiness. The training plans in the ILT training curriculum are complete. I do want to spend a little bit of time providing some update regarding both the web-based training and the instructor-led training. For WBTs, all the early learning and the train the trainer participants have access and have completed their WBT trainings. For end users, they have had access to the LMS to begin their WBT curriculum, and that has been ongoing for almost 2 months at this time. For the instructor-led training, there's been a lot of activity and there's been a lot of progress over the past 2 weeks. Specifically, I want to highlight the Train the Trainer curriculum. The Train the Trainer is designed for all of the county training departments or the staff development that will be supporting the end user instructor-led trainings for the Wave 2 counties. Over the course of this 3 weeks that ILT is conducted, the trainers go through the entire curriculum for that county from the perspective of the instructor. So there's a lot of hands-on training for that Train the Trainer. Early training is a little bit shorter. It can either be a single 10-day or 2 5-day curriculums for different groups of learners. The early training is fully customized, specific to how and what the county would like for early training. So the county choose which staff attend which programs. We are seeing that for the wave 2 counties, that early learning is predominantly the county help desk staff as well as the supervisors. And again, this was completely at the county's discretion of who attends that training, but it's meant to provide more context, especially as we get into the other readiness areas across the project. So for a little bit of status, the early learning is complete for all 3 of the wave 2 counties. That was completed last Friday. There was a CAPI early learning that was completed yesterday for one of the counties as well. The Train the Trainer program is also is concluding this week, and that will be the last session will be tomorrow afternoon. For end user training, after the holidays, end user training for the 3 counties starts on Tuesday, January 3rd. Moving into the organizational readiness, a couple of core updates. The change discussion guides have been signed off by the counties, and the counties are having those discussions with their staff. The project team is providing office hours for anything that requires additional assistance from the project teams. From the communications perspective, a few updates. The December infographics are in development and will be distributed to the counties next week. There are 2 specific of the infographics. One is for rescind and reapply, as well as rush warrants, and those will be distributed via CIT next week. The Wave 2 T-3 surveys. The Wave 2 T-3 surveys and the results are also being distributed and discussed with the counties. Tulare, the team met with Tulare County last week, and the Santa Clara and the Contra Costa meetings are this week. Moving down a little bit more to configuration, all 3 counties have completed their configuration. And again, what you're seeing on the screen is as of Friday, December 2nd. But over the past week, we have concluded all of the configuration sessions as well as the activities associated with config. For process simulation, one update is that process simulation is complete for Contra Costa and Santa Clara at this time. Santa Clara or Contra Costa wrapped up last Friday, and Tulare actually kicked off earlier this week. Those activities will take place through next week for Tulare. Moving into the implementation. For implementation planning, the project team we began working with the counties about a week and a half ago on what we refer to as the county profile. Those county profiles really identify the type of staff working in which office, where if there's a centralized print center, or if the contact centers are also centralized. So working with the counties on that to be able to understand the type of and level of support that will be required at go live. We are working across the project and the vendor teams, assessing the resources as well as the post-implementation approach going forward. A CIT is currently being drafted and will be distributed next week to solicit county support volunteers, and that schedule and that information will be posted next week via CIT. For county prep, there have been activities that have started since Friday the 2nd. A couple of core updates regarding county prep. There was a CIT that was released last Wednesday, December 7th. That is CIT 0355-22. That included more information about the county prep kickoff, all of the materials, as well as the configuration guides that will be discussed at the kickoff meeting, which is scheduled for December 20th. The intended audience of the county prep kickoff are the county PPOCs, IPOCs, TPOCs, security administrators, or other individuals that will be supporting the Wave 2 counties during that county period. Pre and post implementation support, this continues to move forward as well. The core activities are also, in addition to the planning of the support structure and model, also include the other type of documentation that the project team makes available for the counties as throughout their migration. We will begin also updating and distributing the Go Live packet, which will begin efforts in January. The help desk is complete, but we also wanted to make sure that we highlighted that there is a tier 1 fulfiller and delegated admin refresher training that is scheduled for next Tuesday, December 20th. Moving into the last item for under implementation is the county ad hoc reports. The details of the number of reports for both Contra Costa and Santa Clara continue to be refined. As of late breaking news earlier this week, Contra Costa did identify 73 total reports that require refactoring, but there are 24 that are being prioritized for day 1 of Go Live. Both Contra Costa and Santa Clara are working with Gainwell on the development of those refactored reports, and more information will be provided shortly. Moving on to the next slide. This slide is just from the perspective of the counties where they are across all of their readiness areas and the core activities that are the activities based on the county readiness checklist, as well as what is approaching a due date in the next 30 days. So this information, again, just to highlight a couple of items, we did note at the time of the report that Santa Clara was slightly behind on their interfaces, but as of earlier this week, there has been progress made, and for Santa Clara, they have 6 of their 10 have passed. And then also for Tulare, they now have 6 of their 8 interfaces have passed testing. The implementation areas for ad hoc reporting continue to be monitored, and again, continue to work with Gainwell on refactoring those reports. Tulare does not have any reports to refactor at this time. The table at the bottom left portion of the screen is the total number of activities outlined in each of the county readiness checklists and the status of all of those activities. As you can tell, the counties continue to make great progress overall for a readiness perspective, and are working very diligently with their TOS teams as well as with the project team. And Cindy, with that, we can go right into wave 3, and Jan can come, or we can take questions.
Okay, I think let's break here if you don't mind, and see if there's any questions or comments from the PSC members.
Hi, Cindy. This is Clarissa, Region 1.
Hi, Clarissa.
A question for Catherine, just around the T4T. Certainly some of the counties, I know there's like 25 spots available for the training sessions. Certainly for some counties, smaller counties or medium-sized counties in particular, we don't necessarily have 25 trainers that will go to the training. I was wondering, you mentioned that the training was specific towards those who will be supporting or will be there for actual training when we're doing general training for staff. Does it make sense for counties to send other staff outside of their training team into those trainings, or will that take away from the actual trainers?
Clarissa, great question. I will reserve, if it's all right with you, I can take that back as an action item. I know that through the training, for the training or the identification of the trainers, as well as who attends early learning, because they are 2 different audience groups, the training team can work with you to make sure that not only are the seats filled for that train the trainer session, but also that it would have and include the right audience. At this point, I don't think it would detract from having additional people in those sessions, especially if there is the available seats from the county perspective.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
This is Salbert from San Diego. And just to, because we're identifying those individuals that will be attending both T4T and early training. So we're in the same situation. We basically are sending our entire, because there's 2 sessions, right? So we are sending our entire staff development team, but then we also identified people in our program section, and also those that are in the training or provide training for onboarding within the office, not because they will be training, but also to have some resources in case promotions, vacations, retirements. So, we want to be able to have our own pool of resources in-house in case we have to fill behind our actual trainers. And we, again, we are sticking with our program support or program specialists or analysts, whatever those may be in your county. And again, just our training supervisors, for the training for trainer and for our early learning, our SMEs, those that have been in the sandbox, those that are showing a little bit of interest. We identified, again, we want to fill every seat. And it's also that we have additional support. So it was a struggle, but we got 50 and 50.
And also, and Ashley did comment as well in the chat. But definitely, I know that the training team will work with the counties to accommodate and to make sure all of the seats across both train the trainer as well as early learning are filled.
And Catherine, maybe we could have either Renee or Ashley come on and just sort of reinforce that and see if there's something else that a little bit more context they want to provide in response to the PSC's question on that.
Hi, John, it's Ashley. As Renee put in the chat, yeah, we absolutely encourage the counties to fill the seats. If you're wondering, how I can make 25 spaces work in my county and you don't have 25 trainers, we encourage you to think about, who will be supporting when training starts to happen for your general users, right? Like, do you have lead workers? Do you have someone who acts as a coach in the county? Because those sessions are really to provide that support when the bulk of your staff go through training. So we will work closely with you to discuss who might be good options for filling those seats so that you can really maximize that space and the positive experience for your staff when they start going through their ILTs.
Thank you, Ashley. And if it's okay with the PSC, with that response, and you might have follow-up questions, I don't think that, Catherine, you're going to have to take that action item. So I just want to be able to confirm that.
Thank you, John.
Okay, any other comments or questions from PSC on this section for wave 2? I did have a small, quick question. Don't need any of the details or anything, but I was wondering on the reports, are those that you're refactoring for the counties, and particularly the 24 that are prioritized, or are these state reports or are they just individualized reports from the counties?
Indeed, those are just individualized reports. Those are true ad hoc reports. So all the state reports, the management reports, everything that's developed from CalSAWS is there for each and every one of the counties. The counties have been oriented on those reports and looked at that. If there's other ad hoc reports or special reports that they need in order to conduct business or to provide some data to a partner or something else like that, those are the ones that they are refactoring those reports and working with. And Gainwell, we've been working with the CalWin team and Gainwell so that the counties have assistance in refactoring those and the most important ones prior to go live.
Perfect. Okay, thanks for that, John.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from PSC? Last call. And then we'll move on to any public comment on this section. Okay, Catherine, thank you for that. And then we'll move on to wave 3.
Hi, good morning, PSC members. So moving on to wave 3, this is the first month that we are reporting out on wave 3 readiness. However, the slides and the information, the topics will all be very much the same as wave 2. So and these slides are effective, the data within these slides are effective December the 2nd. And I'll be going through and highlight the 7 different readiness areas and the activities, the major milestones that have taken place or will be taking place. So, I won't be spending too much time on the critical path other than this is the quick at a glance look at exactly where we are in terms of those readiness areas. We are right around the T-4 mark. Exciting, exciting. And as you've noticed, left of the red line there, many activities have taken place. And right of that dotted line is many more activities, critical milestones will take in this next 4 months. And with that, I will do the deeper dive into each of the readiness areas in the next slide, please. Thank you. So in terms of application readiness, the next release is the 2303 release targeted for end of March, and there has not started yet. Moving on to contact center readiness. So all 3 of the contact flows for R have been approved by the 3 wave 3 counties, and they are working through the SCR designs for all 3 counties now. And later on next year, in right before go live, the model office and configuration activity, where the counties can do a variety of different activities in some of the environments, will start on April the 10th and through April the 21st. Imaging, very much the same as the wave 2 counties. This imaging activity is an ongoing activity. It continues to go all the way until go live for both the project staff and the county staff. So the 3 counties are on exporting their legacy images, and Highland continues to get those images and upload those into the production environment. Benefits Cal does not start activities for wave 3 until early January. So in the next couple of weeks, those activities will start with CBO pull downs, or the data for the CBO information. The central print readiness, so kickoff and configuration meetings all were completed with wave 3 counties and the central print team. And right now they are having validation meetings individually with the 3 counties as they are needed. UAT prep and execution, just as a reminder, all UAT activities, all 18 counties were executed a few months ago, and they were all completed in the month of September. So those are all blue, showing complete. County and state interface testing will start for the wave 3 counties January. And right now they are running through the pre-IPT readiness activities, which are a little bit more technical, and I'll go through that in a few minutes. Conversion. So conversion, as of December 2nd, there were 63 unresolved defects, which were discovered in the prior to wave 1 go live during the CDV and CDT activities. These are primarily P3 and P4, priority 3 and priority 4 defects, which do not impact eligibility, EDBC, and issuances for the upcoming, the future waves. So also here, we're on the EDBC match, AKA yellow banner case, we have an estimated 7% of those converted programs will require the workers to review and run EDBC to ensure EDB matches. Mock conversion for wave 3 does begin next year in January and goes for all the way through February. And county data validation will also start end of January, January the 30th, goes for 2 weeks through February the 10th. From a technical standpoint, again, the network IPT and ad hoc readiness testing is in progress. This is, or some of this is for the start of the IPT, the interface partner testing, which starts again next month. And from connectivity standpoint, network circuit delivery, all those changes and integrations have completed. Performance testing there does not, for wave 3, does not start until February of 2023. Next slide, please. In terms of training, so the training curriculum for each of the individual counties are in progress and on schedule to be completed prior to early for those counties. Right now, the WBTs have started for their the Wave 3 early training staff and train the trainers. And instructor-led training for early training and train the trainers will start next month on January the 17th. Huge milestone there. And the training for the end users, for all of the end users, the ILT training or the instructor-led trainings will start on February the 27th. From an organizational standpoint, all three of the Wave 3 counties have signed off and approved on their change discussion guide. And right now the OCM team is working on the release of the December infographic, which is a focus, which will be focused on of actions and caseloads. BPR activities are also complete and signed off by all 3 counties. The process simulation team has confirmed county participants for process simulation activities, and kickoffs are taking place in terms of configurations. Those actually for Wave 3 took place last week, and those actually completed last. In terms of implementation readiness, the implementation team has started drafting county profiles, and Catherine spoke a little bit about county profiles. This is many of the county demographic information, types of worker, the different functional areas, the number of offices, all of the information that we need to start our initial planning for post-implementation support for Wave 3. So we've started that initial work internally, and we'll be connecting with the IPOCs for Wave 3 to continue those dialogues in January and February. Quick note here that county prep does begin on March the 13th for the Wave 3 counties. Around help desk, the help desk kickoffs were completed on September the 27th. Also, the delegated admin trainings were hosted and occurred on October the 26th. And the county facility trainings also took place last week, hosted by the counties, and finished up last week. Ad hoc. So ad hoc Wave 3 counties have identified 381 out of 800 ad hoc reports that need to be refactored. And I will be talking a little bit more about each of the individual counties in the next slide, please. So county readiness, all of these readiness areas all align to the project areas I just went through. Usually when there's a project milestone or project activities, there are usually some corresponding county activity. So as you'll notice, all 3 counties in Wave 3 are very similar in their statuses, all green and on track with all areas except for integration readiness, which really covers the IPT testing, and those don't start until February. So quick note, in terms of conversion, the mock cutovers are scheduled for January. And again, for training, Wave WBTs, those early training participants and train the trainers, those started last month on the 28th. Quick note around ad hoc. So Orange they've identified 235 reports. Santa Barbara has identified 84, and Ventura has identified 62 ad hocs to report. The number of reports that are needed prior to go live may change, and you may see these numbers differ for each month. as the counties continue to work with Gainwell on the development and the refinement of these reports. So I just wanted to quickly note that those are the early numbers that have been identified, but again, these numbers may be moving targets as we move closer to go live and what is really needed prior to go live. So wave 3 counties have completed 56 of their tasks on their readiness checklist. Amazing. So that's a huge number, 1,188, very big numbers. You know, a little less than half to go, but great progress thus far from Orange, Santa Barbara, and Ventura. So great job to all of the IPOCs from those counties and in collaborating it with the project teams to monitor and make sure that we're progressing on the checklist items. And again, the pie chart shows just the wave 3 tasks that are due in the next 30 days by the readiness categories, and there will be 50 different tasks that will be due in the next in this next 3 weeks or so. And with that, that completes the wave 3 readiness updates. I'm going to turn it back to Cindy.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dawn. Wave 3 status update. Any questions or comments from the PSC members? Okay, sounds good. Sounds like they're on schedule. Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, hearing none, thank you for that. And we'll move on to the next item, which is the waves 2 to 6 key risks. Arnold, Rachel, and Dan.
Thank you much, Cindy. So good morning, everybody. Again, we will be covering the risks, and this is going to really cover all of the waves, remaining waves, and this is 2 through 6. And you can see the structure here. We do have a coloring for each of the waves. So because the status does actually vary based upon where the individual counties are. So we'll start off with our high risk, which is 258, and that is the CalWIN conversion cutover window is at risk of completing past the 84-hour window. So if you may recall in previous discussions, we had talked about the mitigation strategy of dividing the waves 2 through 6 into 2 different groupings, one being the active cases with 2 years of history before any closed cases. And then the second wave is all closed cases that meet the rest of the data retention policy, and that being done in another event. The team is in process of running a mock cutover on wave 2. And so we'll be in a position to share timings on where we ended up with each of those, both the cutover B, which it just recently completed. So the team's going through the analysis there. And then next week is more on the cutover C. So we can see the timing on that one as well. So we will be reporting out based upon those results on wave 2. We will be following the same process through waves 3 through 6 as well. Next risk is 268, the implementation readiness for CalWIN cutover to CalSAWS. Dan, did you want to spend a little bit of time talking through 268?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Thanks, Arnold. 268 is the overall readiness risk for each of the waves. It captures a number of things from the application readiness and the quality to performance items like online batch and imaging, to support for the users, both the materials and the resources, to county activities like extracting from the imaging legacy system reports refactoring or fiscal reconciliation that have been spoken to sooner. A number of those details are captured in some of these other risks listed below, so I'll defer to those items. The one I wanted to highlight is one of our risks, which is not wave specific because there is a single piece of application code that the quality assurance team is tracking closely with all delivery partners and consortium, is related to the defects coming out of converted data validation. That's an activity for each of the waves where the counties have an opportunity to work with their data in the CalSAWS application. And it combines anything we're finding in converted data validation with the experience from Wave 1 Go Live. So we have a daily meeting from Wave 1 Go Live from 6 weeks ago. 70% of the items on that log have been resolved. There's approximately 10 data updates currently active on that list. And what the teams do is determine if they need to change or any mapping from the source system, in which case no code update is required, or if they have to make change to the conversion routines, which will benefit the future counties. So we monitor that both in a daily meeting and in a weekly status report. Again, there's about 10 data updates that remain, and we're mapping that to the code updates, and that number is currently at about 30, which is in the midst of being triaged. And we'll work through that prior to Wave 2 Go Live, that all the P1s and P2s have been resolved. Arnold, back to you.
All right. Yes, I will continue on with risk 237, a medium risk around scaling of batch for 58 counties may have an impact on system performance. And so this is a risk that we're tracking on a wave per wave basis. And the process that we're handling that is when we have coming out of our mock conversions, what we call our golden data sets, which includes all the production data plus the data from those counties from that particular wave. We then take that data set and move it into our online performance environments and our batch performance environments, and we proceed to run performance tests against that level of data. And so for Wave 2, it's a 45 county data set. And we're currently in process of executing the batch performance on that. And with the changes and adjustments to the architecture, we are positive with meeting that batch performance. There's still 1 to 2 more runs on the batch side, but they are completing within the targeted window. And then we will do the same thing for waves 3, 4, 5, and 6. As those golden data sets become available, we'll continue to run the batch and continue to tune and adjust as the system continues to scale. In parallel to that, we're running what we're calling a 58 county data set. And that is that is fast tracking through the conversion process for all waves. So we're creating a data set that actually contains 58 counties worth of data, converted data on it. And we expect that one will be available to run through online batch performance testing at the end of January or early February. So that gives us a head start on those later waves to make sure that the system is scaled and we have more time if additional tasks or adjustments have to be made in order to meet the SLAs. So for Wave 2, we're trending towards green. For waves 3 through 6, as we get those GDSs, then we'll be trending on those as well. So then that takes us to risk 240, which is around the scaling of CalSAWS production operations, including batch operations, to provide 40 and 58 county support without without taking into account the multi-county and multi-vendor CalSAWS ecosystem. So with that, prior to each of the launches, so Wave 1 saw this as well, we had communications on how we integrated Placer and YOLO into the overall CalSAWS communication stream when it came to production events, production and launches, the interchange of files between the counties that occurs during the nightly batch process. And so that was in place prior to the Wave 1 Go Live, and we're doing the same for Waves 2 through 6. So that the counties are integrated into the CalSAWS support structure, the service desks, the ServiceNow ticket management system, as well as just the communication for receiving the production alerts, as well as notifications of launches and releases. So that happens prior to the Go Live, so that by the time we hit Go Live for each of the waves, the counties are integrated into the process and are consuming that data. So the next risk is on 276, and this is specifically for Wave 6, and that was the delivery of that golden data set, which is basically, in the case of Wave 6, it's a 58 county data set. And so right now, the current schedule has that being delivered in T-1. We have a plan that we are working to finalize with the consortium that would have us to deliver that in T-3, so in the July timeframe, so that it can be aligned for interface partner testing, process simulation, and county data validation. So we are working through the final logistics on that. We believe we will be using that 58 county data set and regenerating a new version of it for that July timeframe that can be used. So this is trending towards green, and we're just finalizing the last set of tasks with the consortium to be able to mitigate that and lock into that July schedule. Rachel, I'll transition over to you for 278.
Perfect. Thanks, Arnold. So an update on 278, reminder, this is just the risk that we're using to track our support activities for implementation for both the 30 days that precede go live and the 60 days that take place after go live. So what has taken place since Wave 1 is we now have data points that we can use to inform our go forward strategy for waves 2 through 6 on post-implementation support. So we learned what worked in terms of structure, our command center, our on-site support, our virtual support. Did we have the right number of people with the right knowledge? So that is what's now going to be carried through and updated in our support structure for the future waves. So that's why we're monitoring this, because we're always incorporating input from what we're getting from the waves that are actually going through the migration process and through their implementation. The other item that's being tracked as part of this too is, if you recall, the go live packet. So it will evolve from release to release, or rather from wave to wave, as changes are being made to the system. So the go live packet will get refreshed each time, and we're using this as a means to also monitor the updates that are being made to that go live packet. Arnold, I'll turn it back to you for 279.
So for 279, we talked about this with our Wave 1, and that is the state or the preparedness for the fiscal and state reports for the Calhoun counties. And so for Wave 2 through 6, Keith talked about the process that we're using to prepare the counties for that process, to assist them with the data mapping and the preparation exercises. And so we're currently on track, and we just leave this as a yellow at this point in time, just to show the level of urgency and attention that this is providing as we help the counties as they prepare for that cutover and being able to use the CalSAWS reports for the state and fiscal reporting process. Let's move on to the next page, please.
I'll take 262, Arnold.
Yes.
So on 262, recall that this was used to track the project's ability to be able to provide the counties with the information that they need to prepare for readiness for go live, and not just the content, but also making sure that the information is provided at critical points of time so that the counties have sufficient time to prepare. So as it relates to last month and this month, we have had a little bit of some change. And you'll see that each of the waves is in a different place. And that's largely driven by making sure that we are getting both accurate information into the updates for the work plan for the county, so that it is current and reflective of the current state of where the counties are. There were some challenges that we had worked through and that we're continuing to work through for future waves, but wave 2, we've gotten to that point. The second item is making sure that the counties have sufficient knowledge and understanding of what those items are that are contained in those activities. So we have engaged different members of the CalSAWS project, whether they be subject matter experts, to help out with making sure that there is that level of understanding and knowledge. It is an ongoing activity that we will continue, which is why you'll see waves 3 and 4 are in yellow. We still have a little bit of work to close the gap to get that into a green status. But the future waves, we're learning from what we've done from the previous waves, incorporating that going forward. Arnold, back to you for 264.
So for 264, this is the risk that we are tracking around. Can you still hear me?
We can hear you now, Arnold.
All right. I just had a little blip here. Anyway, 264 is regarding the imaging status and preparation for the counties. And if we look at all of the waves, we're actually in pretty good shape. The reason why we have a yellow in wave 4 is we were tracking a risk with San Diego County and being able to complete their export from their existing production system and import it into the CalSAWS imaging platform as well. San Diego has a plan in place. They're working with their vendor, and this is trending towards green as they make progress on doing their exports. So all the other counties in the remaining waves are doing well as well. So we expect that yellow to be turning green in the upcoming month. So then that brings us to the final risk, which is 269, and Calhoun counties may not have enough development and testing timeline to refactor their ad hoc reports and ancillary systems before go live. I think you heard Young and Catherine talk about those specific items within their update. And so there's absolutely focus with that, with providing the counties support, as well as some augmented county purchases to provide support for them for refactoring those ad hoc reports. So we continue to lead in and provide the project support of the counties as they do that process. So that concludes the risks. Cindy, we can transition it back to you for questions.
Okay, thank you, Arnold and Rachel. Any comments or questions from the PSC members? Okay, any comments or questions from the public? Okay, hearing or seeing none. Arnold, I think it's back over to you for the technical operations update.
Yes, it is. And so I'll just start by saying, and as I started out earlier, is that November was a good month. I know that if we looked at the October 31st with our documented batch issue, we talked through that pretty extensively with this group last month. And we're continuing to work with our AWS partners on how we continue to increase the robustness of the system to avoid reoccurrences of that in the future. And then I had also talked about the issue on Tuesday the 1st with Highland, and that was the imaging process delay. So outside of those two issues, November was a very stable month, as can be seen here with the fact that we were green on our SLAs. We did turn yellow on the 21st because we had two counties, Lassa and Shasta, that experienced some system slowness between 10:30 and 8:05. That was related to a change that was put in with the 22.11 release on the 20th and was subsequently fixed during that process. So overall, November was a very solid month, which was good coming out of the wave 1 for both the 40 production counties as well as the two new counties, so with Placer and Yellow. If we move on to the next slide. Just an update on that imaging process delay. So there were definitely steps that Highland has taken where they were adding additional server capacity. It's called the messaging node, and that was completed on November 9th. They also did some changes to the internal routing of the images within the system that was applied on the 11th. And then they improved the processing within that messaging service also on the 11th. So we are continuing to work with Highland as we look at the monitoring and continuing to tune the overall application. we have not seen a reoccurrence of the issues that occurred on the 1st. So that was a positive progress that has been made. And so with that, Cindy, I think if we go to the next slide, it'll be back to you for asking any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from the PSC members?
Hey, Cindy, this is Rachel from Region 3. I do have question or rather concern around the imaging processing delays that happened on the 1st. I understand that Highland is going to be taking some preventative measures and maybe doing some internal performance testing. Because I think at the last meeting, it was indicated that their issue was not related to the migration of the additional counties, but it seems in the root cause analysis that it indicated that it was due to an increase in the images. And so my question is, after the internal performance testing, how is that information going to be shared out to the counties?
Yeah, so as additional step, there is going to be another round of the performance testing as you referred to, and that's going to be occurring in the January and February timeframe. I will report out on that as in this meeting, as well as we will be including it in our imaging messaging that also goes out to the production counties, as well as the upcoming wave counties on that as well. The issue wasn't fully related to the increase in volume, because that last bullet point there, there was actually a bug in the system that was causing multiple versions to be created, which was creating artificial load on the system. So that, if you look at what happened, you can say there was a relation to Placer and YOLO, because yes, we did add the additional volume there, but there was an underlying defect in the system that was artificially creating the volume. And so it was an incremental build on that. So it wasn't directly related to Placer and YOLO coming on board, but as a precautionary measure, we are monitoring the overall system throughput, and especially around the different types of images. And that's going to be factored into that internal performance test. So yes, I will be reporting out on that on subsequent PSC and JPA discussions.
I wanted to add to that too as well. I appreciate that additional information, just because looking at that bullet where it says there was a 10% increase from Placer and YOLO, and knowing that the next phases may be a little bit larger, it is a concern that we may have that impact in the following. So thank you for taking a look at that, because anything we can do to prevent any lack of production for our staff, that would be wonderful.
Yes, and that internal test is going to take us beyond the 58 county loads on it as well. So we're going to put the load that's going to be representative of all 58 counties being on it, plus some as part of that internal testing. So that way we have very high confidence as we move into the remaining waves on this.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Dawn, did you have something to add?
Just an administrative note, if somebody downloaded the presentation like yesterday, there's been a few slides that have been changed. This one's been added in, so we've reposted that. So just a note there, this slide is now posted on the one that is on the public website. So we just had a quick update we had to put out there.
Great, thank you. Any other comments or questions from PSC members? Thank you for your comments. And any comments from the members of the public?
Hi, I just had a question. With the delays in verifications, was that impacting like the workers' ability to view the information?
No, the workers were able to view all the information through that day of delay, and the backlog was cleared. So things had queued up, so they were standing in line. That had cleared by 8:30 that night. So it was resolved within that same day. The users were, or the caseworkers had visibility to those images throughout the entire event.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other comment or questions? Okay, thank you for that update, Arnold. And then we'll move on to the next agenda item, the Benefits Cal Technical Help Desk implementation update. Dawn and Joel.
Thanks, Cindy. So from the Benefits Cal Technical Service Desk perspective, we are underway. We have implemented with our Wave 1 counties on October 31st to 22. And as a reminder, the Benefits Cal Technical Service Desk is really oriented towards supporting the counties. We support them, though, with calls from the public or CBOs that they have a technical problem that they weren't able to resolve. So those can be transferred to us as a warm transfer. We also have the ability to take voicemails, and they can also send us emails, and again, in support of the county's service to the public and the CBOs. We're handling those technical benefits Cal calls. And again, Calwin, Wave 1 counties, Placer and Yolo live on 10/31. We've had a small volume of calls without those couple of counties, but we do have Los Angeles going live 12/19. So that is next Monday. And we will see a much larger volume of calls when that occurs. The Los Angeles County has completed their training. So we've actually seen a few calls coming in post-training since they are aware of how to do that now. And we do anticipate seeing a much more significant usage of the service on next Monday. The Calwin Waves 2 through 6 obviously will go live on the service at the time of their CalSAWS go live. So we'll be coordinated with each of the waves. And as far as the former C4 counties go, we are going to be doing that by region. Our current thinking is that we will be wanting to evaluate our Los Angeles data and our service delivery at those volumes for about 60 days. So we do want to settle in, make sure that we gather that data, get our lessons learned, and make sure we're appropriately staffed for the objectives we have in our service. And we are then going to be bringing in each remaining region rather, to the service following that period of analysis. We are already, however, working with setting up meetings for those remaining counties so that we can start to introduce the topic and they can get their planning underway now. So for most of those regions, we'll be meeting with them in January to get that whole process started. We can go on to the next slide. So again, in terms of our Wave 1 results, just at a high level, you can see we had a small volume of calls there on the chart that's in the lower corner. It also represents voicemails and emails, of which there was an even smaller quantity. We are starting to see that picking up as the counties get more used to that service. And of course, on next Monday, we expect to see those numbers jump quite a bit as Los Angeles County comes on. The number of contacts, as I indicated, is really not large enough yet to draw conclusions, but we are set up to analyze the data. We are collecting the data, and when we have a large enough sample size, we will certainly be making recommendations in terms of things that we can help the counties with, provide frequently asked questions, and other information that we can glean from that. But as it stands today, our sample size is too small to draw a lot of conclusions. And I believe that is the last of this topic area. So I will be handing it back to you, Cindy.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from PSC members?
Hi, I have a question. This is Sandra Boland. So thank you for sharing that additional information, and we're really looking forward to this. With the former C4 counties already utilizing Benefits Cal, is there a way to prioritize our implementation to the Benefits Cal Technical Service Desk? I know that this will be a very beneficial, it's very beneficial to the families that we serve as well as our staff, something that they've been asking for.
Yes, so we are definitely aware of the desire by many of the counties to join, and we are looking forward to bringing them on. But we do want to make sure that we do this in a controlled manner. We don't want to have the experience not be as good as we want it to be. So we do need to be sure that, you know, when we bring on Los Angeles and we get a chance to take a look at that data, so we can get in front of making sure that the service will be what you need it to be when we roll you on. But we absolutely understand the request, and we are working already with the regions to make sure that we can get that moving as quickly as possible after we have a chance to get some experience with Los Angeles.
And Don, to reiterate, we will be engaging with the counties, the former C4 counties, in the month of January to start that planning. There's some training engagement that goes in that as we're looking at the data. So we will be engaging in the month of January to start to vet out that plan and work with you all to get that plan in place so that we can get an implementation date.
Thank you, John and Dawn.
Yeah, thank you for that. Oh, I heard somebody else jump in.
Yeah, and this is Rachel from Region 3. I just wanted to echo again the concern that Sandra brought forward because, well, all of our counties are now in CalSAWS. And I know that in particular, Shasta County had brought this concern or escalated this concern earlier this year, and they had actually tracked some of the hours that were spent by county staff in trying to assist customers with benefits, with the benefits Cal issues. And so I just want to say, you know, the experience for the customer already is not optimum with what county staff are able to provide. So again, just wanted to echo what Sandra had said. Our CalSAWS counties will be, our former C4 counties will be very interested in the implementation for our counties as well. Thank you.
Appreciate that comment. And we did receive the Shasta data, which we also appreciated as a part of our evaluation. And we do hear the request. And we'll absolutely, as John indicated, be meeting with each of the regions in January to make sure that you can understand the process, get your planning in place, and get training scheduled so we can roll out.
No, they're being funny. Yeah.
But I ain't happy.
Great, thanks for that.
Because the thing about it
I
is,
think possibly LaShonda, you might need to mute your line. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Dawn and John. And I agree with the other comments, and I appreciate it. We'll be looking forward to getting that started in January. Do you have any kind of an estimated time frame? Are you thinking throughout the year? Or are we talking maybe in the next few months?
Yeah, we're not thinking throughout the year. No. Again, we do want to take a look at those Los Angeles results. We're trying to balance speed with making sure that we provide a successful service, but and we will have more data, you know, at the next meeting, because if you give us another 30 days, we'll definitely have more data. But no, we do intend to, once we start rolling with the C4 counties, to make that relatively rapid.
Great, sounds good. I know we'll all be looking forward to it. And with the data that you showed, was that including the Wave 1 Calwin counties that came on? Or
that was pretty close to exclusively the Wave 1 Calwin counties. Yolo and Placer were the users of the system during that time period. Although, as I indicated, there are a few Los Angeles County calls in that number, simply because they completed training and a few of their call center staff did go ahead and use the service.
Great, thank you for that. And any other PSC comments? Any comments from the public?
Hi, this is Jennifer from the Advocates community. I'm curious if you can share anything about how language access is being addressed in the tech help desk.
We can. We have two potential methods for dealing with language access. In some instances, the counties intend to stay on the phone, and if they are providing the interpretation services, they can continue to do that as the warm transfer occurs. In those instances where we don't have access to someone from the county who's doing translation, we have set up language line, which is the usual approach for the counties as well, to provide interpretation services if they need that.
Thank you. Will you be including in the future data any information about the length of time people are either waiting to talk to a tech help desk person and separating that out by non-English speakers and other languages?
Yeah, I don't necessarily have the specifics of our reporting in front of me, but we do definitely intend to bring forward additional information and reporting statistics, including how long people are waiting. That would be a normal one that we are including. As to the breakouts and the splits, I don't have that information in front of me right now, but we will be bringing forward additional information as we get more data. Right now, our sample size is really just way too small.
Thank you. And then I saw that there's calls, voicemails, and emails. Can you
That's
say
correct.
more about how that's, so if a person's getting help from the tech desk, when does the voicemail or email situation happen?
So some of our counties receive emails today. For example, they'll receive an email from the CBO. They'll recognize that that particular email isn't something that they can assist with, and they will want to forward that over directly to us. So that would be the typical way that we would get an email. The way we would see a voicemail is we just made sure that we set that up in case we do hit a situation in which we have all of our agents busy. We do not intend for a long wait time, but sometimes people are on the phone and they don't want to wait. They want to leave a voicemail to have us call them back, and that option is available to them. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess I was surprised to see that there's already voicemails coming in with the low number of calls. And so I'm wondering, will the increased call volume be able to be met right away, or will there be an increase in voicemails that outpaces the ability to answer the calls?
The voicemails that you see on the chart actually arrived after hours. So voicemail is also available after hours if our desk is not staffed at that time, but let's say a county happens to be working overtime or came in early, they can transfer someone and then a voicemail can be left. And all of those voicemails you saw on the chart were after hours.
So what are the hours for the tech desk?
We are at 8 to 5, Monday through Friday currently.
Okay.
And those will be a part of the analysis that will occur as we get additional data.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think I see another hand up, Marcella.
Yeah, thank you. Where is the information for the Benefits Cal Help Desk going to be advertised? Aside from the main website, I would say.
So the Benefits Cal Technical Service Desk is in support of the counties. So the counties are, again, taking those calls from the public or from the CBO. They will then determine that they need our additional assistance. So the counties are being given all the information on how to contact the Benefits Cal Technical Service Desk, and they are posting it in the appropriate forums for their staff to be able to access that for the county.
I see. Okay, so it's not available to consumers just on their own navigating Benefits Cal and having difficulties. It'll be
not a
worker
consumer.
supporting.
Correct. It is not a consumer direct service desk. This is in support of the counties, although they will transfer the consumer to us. So we will speak to them directly. The first line of a response is with the counties.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Hey, thank you for those comments, questions. Any other comments or questions from the public? Okay, I'm not hearing any. Thank you, Dawn, for that presentation.
Thank you, Cindy.
Moving on to item number 10, the release and policy update.
All right, good morning. Hello, everyone. Happy holidays. So I'll kick off this section. We have a couple of presenters. So to close out a very busy year, I wanted to give a few highlights of what's just run and where we're headed as we move into 2023. So this past weekend, we did have some COLA processes run. We ran the SSA COLA, 8.7% increase for those impacted populations. We also had a statewide minimum wage increase that's effective January 1 as well. Plus, we ran the CAPI COLA all in the CalSource system this past weekend. I did want to call out, we had originally planned to also run the SSI CalFresh COLA in both CalSource and CalWIN this past weekend. As we were preparing for that COLA, there's some additional steps that occur when we run the CalFresh SSI COLA. Specifically, we receive an inbound file from DHCS that includes updated SSI or SSI SSP income amounts. And so we need to receive that file. We need to run that update in CalSource to update the program assistance records. And that is a precursor to running the SSI CalFresh COLA. So back on December 6th, we did receive that inbound file and we processed that file. And as part of processing the file, we were receiving a large number of exceptions. So thankfully, working very closely with our state partners from DHCS, CDSS, we were able to get on a call very quickly. And in further analysis, DHCS did confirm that they needed to rerun and send a revised file. There's a couple of key elements in there that we receive on that file, and that includes the eligibility amounts as well as the payment amounts. And we were receiving the eligibility amounts effective for January, but the payment amounts were for December. So there was a synchronization issue there. So where we stand with this particular COLA is next week, we are working with DHCS to get a revised file. We send them the recipients, they send back the updated information. We'll be QAing and reviewing that file prior to running that in the system at the end of the month. And then our current target date, you'll see on that slide a yellow highlight, just hot off the press, our current target date is that we will run the SSI CalFresh COLA on Saturday, the 7th of January, and that's effective for the February benefit month. And that's for both CalSource and CalWIN. We both have a need to get regenerated files so that we can move forward with this process. Also, it's not listed here, but that weekend will be a busy weekend. We are also running the CalFresh Mass allotment monthly process as well. So we're busily working to get ready for both of those batch processes that will run that first weekend in January. And at the following weekend, not listed here, but we do have Wave 2A cutover. And then the third weekend of the month is when we'll be deploying our release 2301. And further into February, we've got another COLA. We are actively planning and working on the federal poverty limit cost of living adjustment that needs to run. And we are developing our release there for 2303. So 2301, this slide, some highlights here. We do have some policy items going in. I see it as an extension of the eligibility period for individuals from 8 months to 12 months. So associated changes are going in to support that policy. We have the EBT scam benefit. The benefit type is in the system. This is some additional changes specifically around issuances and reporting to capture those issuances on that benefit type. We are working on PHE. And Karen will give a quick update on that in a second. We're working on building out a report that is going to track the unwinding activities. And then another one I just wanted to highlight, every year the counties provide all, different holidays. We have different main payroll dates. So there was a request to have a page in the system where a county could go in and see the dates that they had provided versus having to go back and look through all those CITs that may have been submitted several times a year. So this is kind of a phase one of that effort where folks will be able to go in and verify that information through the front end of the application. We are well into our testing phase for 2301. We are over 50% executed as we head into the holiday week. We are ramping up for our county validation, and you'll see some key dates there in January regarding the webcast, as well as green light, and then the actual planned deployment date for release 2301. And I think with that, we can go to the next slide. And Karen, I see you out there. You want to take
Thanks,
this
Lisa.
update?
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. We just wanted to mention we don't have an actual update for the PHE because it is currently scheduled through the end of January, but you'll see related to the slides for this presentation today in the calsas.org folder, you'll see PHE timelines updated in anticipation of a 4/30/2023 date in case it happens to be determined to end at that time. Should there be a difference in dates, we will also continue to update the timeline as needed to accommodate any different date. So we did this one just to make sure that it's the most recent one that we have, since the last one we did do for the previous presentation was for the end of January. So those can be found in the policy appendix attached to in the calsas.org folder. And that is our update. We do expect the next indication from CMS to be mid-January as usual on the quarterly basis. So I will move this over to Rachel Fry for Benefits Cal. Thanks. Oh, owner. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's Rachel.
no problem, Karen. Good morning, everyone. I will cover this slide. So from Benefits Cal standpoint, this slide basically highlights the upcoming releases that we have starting winter of 2023 and throughout the spring and the summer. Essentially, when we start next year in January, as early as January 2023, we have been working with the CalSAS team and Lisa for a system improvement called support requests. Support request is enhancing the existing support request functionality available for customers on their dashboard to add additional new categories of support, like including supportive services, counseling support, and recording benefits. And in addition to that, we have additional highlights that is going to be available for customers in the month of January, including new student FAQs to help them to live in the ones that who live in different counties during the school year. Additional nudges for reported change to help customers to locate their income reporting threshold, and additional nudges for customers to review their tax filing status in their MC renewal flows. As we move on within the winter, we have the Calvin Wave 2 go live is planned end of February. This is going to be followed by the Wave 3 in April. And we have an upcoming slide for the release of information enhancement or system improvement, which is basically implementation of the release of information forms is planned for end of May. And when we come to summer in June of the 2023, CalWorks time clocks system improvement is planned, basically allowing customers to view their time left on 8 out of the 60-month CalWorks time limits and request extension if they would like to. So that is planned for the June 2023, and which will be followed by the Wave 4 implementation for the Calvin counties. And with that, I will be passing to Rachel for ODI update. Rachel?
Thanks, owner. Just wanted to brief the committee on an effort that the Office of Data and Innovation had requested from Benefits Cal. There is an initiative to want to be able to help individuals that are eligible for different program services to better connect across programs. So there's an effort right now underway to try to increase the number of people that would be accessing services like WIC and LIHEAP. And also CalFresh and CalWorks was of interest as well if people were receiving services from other departments like through the Unemployment Insurance Agency. As a result of that, there has been a request to build out something that's called a benefit recommender widget. It would sit on other department websites that would allow people that may be interested in seeking other services, and in this case for us it would be for CalFresh and CalWorks, to be able to access those services and redirect them to our site. And for us it would be redirecting them to Benefits Cal, also potentially to Get CalFresh. We are currently working with ODI on the timeline for when they would like to do this as a pilot. And it would be a short duration, just to understand what the experience would be like and the traffic volume that would be controlled, with a small number of individuals that would be redirected. Now, all of these redirects would not necessarily result in applications. It would result in people landing on the Benefits Cal site or on the Get CalFresh site. So some of those may end up translating into applications, and some of those people may just observe and say that they are not interested. We have had discussions about making sure that we aren't increasing the workload for the counties, as some of these programs have different eligibility rules. We've had conversations about making sure that the information that's being passed is done so in a way that it is secure and protecting individuals' information. So just wanted to provide an update to the group that there is a pilot that is forthcoming. It will likely take place at some time next week, and then there will be an evaluation as to whether or not it would be moving forward. John, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that on the ODI pilot.
Yeah, I think most of the data as ODI developed that widget to be placed on state websites and to be able to refer that, we are sort of the recipients of that data, not the producers of that data. You know, we are collaborating with them, but it is sort of on the state side that they're dropping them off at our door, and where the data resides for that evaluation that we'll get. So wanted to make that clear, and we look forward to seeing the results of the pilot and sharing that going forward. And this was just a quick item we wanted to bring up to bring transparency to the PSC, that this is something that came up fairly quickly, that we've been working with the state and CWDA on. We'll probably be talking about it as well tomorrow at the JPA board. That was it.
Okay, Cindy, back to you.
Great, thank you for that update. And any questions or comments from the PSC members? I have a question. It was probably be back to Lisa on the release and policy update. I just wondered, I wanted to say thank you for the work that's being done on the EBT benefit theft replacements that will be going into the system in January. Really want to appreciate that. That will be a lot of help to the workers in the counties, and we've had a lot of work that's had to be done on that. So really appreciate it going into the system so quickly for that. So thank you for that. And then question on the DHCS unwinding eligibility enrollment data monthly report. Is that a report that's just going straight to DHCS, or is that something that will be available to the counties as well? We're always very interested in making sure we're monitoring our work and how we're doing and able to forecast if we need to. So just curious about that report.
Thanks, Cindy. Thanks for that question. Let me double check. I don't want to speak off the cuff on that one, and I'll get you an answer today.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate that.
And Cindy, this is Teresa from DHCS, and I'm sorry about my voice. Just wanting to let you know that DHCS will be publicly posting a data dashboard for the public health emergency unwinding, and we can absolutely make sure that that goes out to this group as well once it's posted publicly.
Okay, thank you for that additional information. Okay, any other comments or questions from any of the PSC members? Or any comments or questions from the public? Okay, hearing or seeing none, we'll move forward to the next item, which is the status update on the release of information functionality. Owner.
Thank you, Cindy. I will provide a quick update on where we are with the release of information design and the overall implementation plans. As I mentioned in the overall release schedule, release of implementation of release of information forms is planned for the May of 2023. And fundamentally, this implementation is intending to protect customer privacy, to allow them to engage with the CBO assisters better throughout their benefits journey. This is intending to be accomplished through allowing customers to define and release specific set of information that we would like to share with the CBOs for a specific period of time. And the design activities for the release of information started in November of this year in 2022, and we are currently still in the design phase. It's in progress right now. And last week, we had a design overview, which is basically sharing with the stakeholders for their feedback. And currently that feedback cycle is still in progress. We are expecting to receive some feedback until end of this calendar year. And incorporation of that feedback to the design and everything is going to continue in the month of January. So we are targeting to complete the design by end of January, by January 2023. And from the production implementation standpoint, right now the targeted date is, as I mentioned, in May 2023. So this is at high level of where we are. So Karen is also on the line. Karen, please feel free to chime in if you would like to add anything, but this is basically the high level overview of the ROI design. Cindy, I pause here for any questions. Otherwise, I will be handing back to you.
Okay, any questions or further comments on this item from any of the PSC members? I guess my question, this is just Benefits Cal related, really, about the release of.
It is integrated. It is both CalSOS Core and the Benefits Cal, because that information is going to pass the information collected on Benefits Cal for the timeline and what type of data is going to be released is going to be passed to CalSOS and retrieved back for the dashboard. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get more information as it gets closer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Any comments or questions from the public?
Hi, this is Jennifer from the Advocates Group. We're really excited about this functionality being made available and the opportunity to weigh in on the design. We are concerned about the current design that requires that CBO is only allowed to upload a release of information, and then an eligibility worker will have to review it before allowing that automated access to the information that the client is giving permission to see. And we're very concerned about the impact to the county workload of having to add that step when there's already a process in place to review the community-based organizations who are provided access to that process, both at the county level and through what's currently a requirement that those CBOs have some sort of contract or relationship at the state or county level. And we would really like to see an automated process that doesn't create a further step for an eligibility worker to have to review. I'm not sure what they'd be reviewing for or what they'd be looking for, since these are partnerships that the counties already have. So we are taking our concerns back to CDSS and DHCS, but wanted to also share here that the current model is not, will have a lot of barriers and problems and will exacerbate existing issues for clients who are already struggling to get support because they can't get into Benefits Cal because they don't have an email address. So we would really like to see support in having a process that actually will help make sure that consumers who are already going to CBOs because they can't use the existing processes can actually get the support that they need.
Okay, thank you.
Jennifer.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
that
Jennifer.
comment. I guess to further ask that question, maybe owner, with the, it indicates here that the details were shared with the stakeholders. Did that also include county staff? Or just public stakeholders?
So we also get the design feedback from a counties as well, like policy, counties, advocate community, all the stakeholders are, have the ability to provide feedback.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Any other public comment or questions? Okay, I think we're moving on then to the next item, the Benefits Cal demo environment. On to Rachel, I think.
Yes, thanks, Cindy. I believe 2 meetings ago, there was a request for us to establish an environment where both CBOs and also the counties had the ability to get familiar with Benefits Cal. And specifically, we heard that as the counties were adding new staff to their organization, that getting them familiar with it and not doing it in a production environment was really important. So wanted to provide an update as to where we are around establishing this environment for the counties as well as the CBOs. From last month to this month, we have made progress on defining what is needed from a technical perspective to establish the training environment. And what that looked at was making sure that we were providing both the counties and the CBO users a pre-production environment that was secure. So in the event of the counties, if they wanted to use their county data, that we were protecting that information. But we also wanted to make sure that it was providing the CBOs and the counties with a feature set that was as close to production as possible. Recognizing that not everything can be done in a pre-production environment, but we wanted to make sure that that experience was as close as possible to the production environment. Now, what do we need to do going forward? Now that we have addressed the technical establishment of how we need to define this environment, there's a couple of things that we still need to solve for. We need to work through what support will be provided for the environment and how that support is going to be provided from an operational viewpoint. So if somebody were to encounter an issue in the environment, or they needed a certain batch job to be run, or whatever it might be, how that would be supported. So that's something that we do need to work through, is what does that operating model look like for support? We also need to work through how individuals are going to request access to the environment, and if they were to depart a CBO or leave the county, how that would be handled as well. We know that the users for this environment are likely users that would be production users. For the counties, they could also be participating in testing. For the CBOs, they could also be participating in usability. So we want to take a look at the path that would be easiest to grant access to both the counties and the CBOs to get access to this environment. So that's the second item that we need to solve for. In the January membership meeting, we are planning on having a section that's dedicated to this, so that we can come back with both the support approach as well as what the approach is to be given access to the environments, and recognizing that awareness of the environment is going to be really important too. As part of that January membership meeting, we're going to be bringing back the awareness plan and communication plan about how you would get access to the environment. Now, right now, we are while we would, I would say, like to get this out for wave 2, there are some things that we need to address that I have mentioned, which are about that support model and the access model. So we'll also be providing an update at the January membership meeting about when the environment will be available. Okay, Cindy, I am going to turn it back over to you, but that is the update on the training and demo, training/demo environment. It would be one environment, it's not 2.
Great. Yeah, we look forward to that. Any comments, questions from the PSC member? Okay, any comments or questions from the public?
Hi, yeah, this is Jennifer from the Advocates Group. Maybe I misunderstood, but it sounds like there's a desire or need to have like some sort of a security function. Like if somebody, you mentioned like if someone leaves their role at a CBO and they still have access to the environment. Can you tell me more about why that level of security is needed if this is doesn't have live an actual PII or anything like that?
Yeah, Jen, we can't necessarily control what people put into these environments. So any environment that we would have, we would want to make sure that the information is protected. So we want to make sure that the same safeguards are in place for the pre-production environment as we would end up having for the production environment. So we need to navigate through that. Go ahead, John.
Rachel, I think more importantly, you know, there's been a sort of a technical solution that has been put together, but operationally, how does the project support that, access to that, the amount of folks in the environment and those types of things? That's what we have to vet through, and that's what we need the month of January to vet through and to have some additional items. So that will become clear as we get our operational model and things like that. But yes, whatever we do, we have to make sure is secure and make sure that, you know, the data in there is protected, because we don't control what data people put into that. But the operational model still has yet to be developed. And that's what the month of January is going to be, putting that in place. And there'll be more information in January about when it will be available and sort of the access channels for support of those that environment.
Okay, thank you for that comment. And Jen, did you have another comment to add, or was that, or your thumbs up? Okay.
Nope, just a thumbs up. Thank you for the information. We look forward to January's discussion.
So just to add another question to that, and I'm assuming that this will all, once you get all the development and operational plans going, there'll be types of training that would come out to county staff as well to share with the CBOs as far as how to access the environment and what have you.
Yeah, that's, Cindy, what I had mentioned about that communication and awareness plan. That's what we would also be sharing in January, is how they would request access, get access, what the, you know, the site is, when it would be available, all of those types of things we would share in January.
Yeah. Perfect. Great. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, I don't see any other comments. Last call for comments. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rachel. And so moving on to John with the CalSAWS member update.
Yeah, just another commercial moment for January 26th is the member representative meeting. This is our opportunity for all 58 counties to be able to get together. We view these as very important communication opportunities. Quorum of the membership is required at these meetings. We do have some action items for the membership. We have to go through and get approval of the administrative budget for the unfunded costs that are outside of our IAPDU for 23-24. So each one of the counties can go through their budgeting process in the spring. Shouldn't be too many surprises by that. It's fairly consistent with what's been in years past. And our project management office has been sharing that with the fiscal managers as we go forth. I think last month I mentioned that there may be a bylaws amendment that's going forward. It doesn't look like that bylaws amendment is going to be going forward. That we're going to be keeping structures of the membership of the JPA as it stands right now, and not move forward with that bylaws amendment. For informational items, we are going to spend a lot of time, again, reflecting on wave 1, where we're at on waves 2 and 3, our key risks, similar to what we've done, but making sure that all 58 counties are getting that information, our conversion update, as well as our diversity, equity, and inclusion, what we call IDEA update will be provided. Tom will be giving a CalSAWS procurement update. And as you heard, there will also be a very large Benefits Cal. We anticipate Benefits Cal update. What we've just talked about on what is up and coming, the environment support for demonstration environments, and really where we've been. I think there was public comment today on statistics and things like that. And really, how successful has Benefits Cal been? What is the improvements that we have that are coming out? What are some of the lessons learned that we've heard? And what are some of the improvements that are coming? And really, we feel the uptake of Benefits Cal has been very positive, knowing that there still is improvements to be done, and sort of lay those things out and have a major update from Benefits Cal at that January meeting. So again, it's going to be a 3-hour meeting. It's going to be by Zoom, knowing that it'll be a 3-hour meeting for all 58 counties and the public. We will try to build into a break into the agenda as well. So that was it, Cindy. See if there's any questions from the PSC or public.
Sounds great. Thank you, John. Looking forward to virtually getting together again in January. Any comments or questions from the PSC members? Okay.
And Cindy, the other thing is that PSC doesn't meet in January because we take this one large meeting as sort of a joint meeting at that point in time, and definitely want all of our PSC members to be in attendance as well.
Great, thank you for that plug. Okay, any comments or questions from the public? I'm sure we'll look forward to all the presentations, and particularly on the Benefits Cal updates. That'll be really helpful for everyone to see all the updates and improvements and changes that have been made during the year. So, okay. I think we're now up to number 14, update on the key IV&V activities.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Kelly Town. In the absence of both Brian and Apoorva, I'll be representing the IV&V team and covering the updates for today. So currently our team is monitoring the following efforts. For imaging migration, we've observed positive progress as the project and Highland team continue to work on the imaging priority defects and enhancements. We are tracking the ongoing imaging migration efforts for Wave 2 counties where Highland is receiving and uploading images to the production environment, and we will be analyzing the results from the additional imaging performance testing to be held in January 2023. We see for batch performance, we see the project team continue to make improvements on batch processing and perform testing using the 45 county data. Additionally, we are monitoring the team's progress as they move through their performance test cycles. Moving to the CalWIN data conversion, IV&V monitored the triage and resolution process for open converted data test defects and Wave 1 post-implementation findings and found it to be very effective. Our team continues to track the 84-hour conversion cutover risk for Waves 2 through 6 and have noted positive progress on this effort. Additionally, the table read for Wave 2 mock conversion we found went well with good coordination, and now with both 2A and 2B complete, our team will analyze the results once it becomes available. For the CalWIN implementation readiness area, we are seeing positive progress being made for the implementation planning and readiness activities for Waves 2 through 6. IV&V is tracking the interface partner testing and process simulation for Wave 2. From our perspective, the efforts are going well. targeted activities are finishing ahead of time, and county staff are receiving personalized attention to discuss their issues. Additionally, our team also attended the Wave 2 County Data Validation Lessons Learned, and would like to acknowledge the project team and all their efforts, as the meeting had great participant interaction, resulting in feedback of what went well, along with areas of suggested improvements for future waves. For the Wave 1 state and fiscal reports meetings, our team observed the sessions to be helpful in providing important updates to the counties, as well as answering any questions or concerns that they may have. A couple of things our team is keeping an eye on: how the implementation support will be evolving for the larger waves, as well as report refactoring efforts and the progress being made for future waves. For the CalSAWS and Benefits Cal releases, CalSAWS had another steady and successful code release with the implementation of 2211. Post-release support was well coordinated. Of the few issues raised, we observed they were resolved quickly via priority releases. Currently, our team is now tracking the CalSAWS major release of 2301, where we are seeing good progress being made. For Benefits Cal, we observed the implementation of the November 4.4 and the newly released December 4.5, of which were both quality releases. And lastly, our team attended multiple Benefits Cal CalSAWS design sessions specifically for the release of information enhancement, where we observed good partner communication and coordination, as well as great feedback from meeting participants. To wrap up, IAVV continues to see good progress from the project. They're taking the lessons learned from Wave 1 and applying them to Wave 2 and beyond. And that's it for IAVV, unless there are any questions.
Great, thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Any questions from the PSC members? Okay, any questions from a member of the public? Okay, great. That moves us on to the next agenda item, our state partners updates. And I'm not sure who will be going first.
Good morning. This is Steve Zareski for OSI. Can you hear me?
Great, yes, we can.
Good morning. Just really briefly for OSI, we continue along with the IVNV team to monitor the Wave 1 post-migration activities, as well as the preparation activities for Wave 2. We are also working with the CalSAWS PMO to prepare and develop the upcoming as needed IAPDU, which is a federal approval document that we submit every year for CMS and FNS. And that's what we have on the plate right now. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to CDSS.
Hi, good morning. This is Brittany over at CDSS. Not a lot of updates today, but I did just want to update on we're just working with both OSI and our program partners on a lot of our budget items right now, and just getting ready for budget season. So preparing for that and working with SAWS on a lot of policy items right now. So that's what we're pretty busy with right now. Any questions that you guys have for CDSS? If not, that's all we have, and just want to say thank you for all the collaboration and efforts on everything, and happy holidays to everyone.
Hey, thank you. Moving then on to DHC updates, DHCS updates.
Hi, good morning. This is Katie Mead from DHCS. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Just have a couple of quick updates. The 26 to 49 adult expansion program is on target still for the January 1st, 2024 implementation. DHCS and SAWS have started meeting monthly with the assistance of CWDA to discuss upcoming system changes to implement policy related changes, to incarcerated individuals, which include updating systems to prevent auto renewal packets from being generated and discontinuing benefits for failure to provide required information, incorporating notices of actions into SAWS for benefits, suspension and release of suspension, and any additional automation needs that are I'm so sorry. Any additional automation needs to meet the requirements of all of these updated or upcoming policy legislation. That is really all I had. And so I'll go ahead and give it back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that update. Any questions from anyone from the PSC members?
Cindy, I just have a question, and this is for Katie. So if we're on target for January 1st of 24, does the department believe that they're going to start any type of advertisement campaign? And if so, when do you think that any advertisements for this population will begin?
Albert, I would have to take that one back. And it looks like we will definitely have more information in the future, but I will definitely have to take that back and provide some updates later.
Thank you. Just because here locally in San Diego, with the refugees and with the ending of Title 42, there's a population that we know that will be coming to seek information. And so it would be of a great benefit to know if and when the department is going to start advertising so that we can also coordinate those efforts here locally. Thank you.
Sure, understood. Thank you so much, Albert.
And Albert, also Teresa commented that yes, and they will let you know more in the near future. So thank you for that comment. We all would need that as well. Any other PSC comments? How about any comments or questions from members of the public? Okay, thank you to the state partners for those updates. We appreciate it. Okay, it looks like we are moving along and we are ready for regional updates. And so I'm just going to be traditional and start with Region 1 for your updates.
Good morning, everybody. I have a couple of Region 1 updates from 3 of our counties in San Mateo County. And just for context, San Mateo is wave 4 in the implementation. Our Economic Self-Sufficiency Director, Deanna Abrahamian, has now retired. We will certainly miss her, most especially in our WCDS meetings. However, we are very excited to announce that our new Self-Sufficiency Director has been named. It is Navjeet Singh. He has been with the agency for 17 years and has really become an active leader in our transition into CalSAUS. So we're very excited as he steps up into this position. On the implementation side, our training team has successfully collaborated with our program operations and the selection of participants for early training, for train the trainer, and then also determining the training modules and ILT for all staff. So you may know there was a big curfew that requested all of this information. So we collaborated with across the agency in order to get that curfew submitted on time. In addition, our training team is in the process of reviewing the draft training plan. Our CalSAUS support team is working on application security profile mapping from CalWIN to CalSAUS with the support of our help desk and security administrators. With regards to document migration, we're in the sample image testing preparation phase and in the process of gathering imaging testers. San Francisco County, and I believe they're wave 6, their Change Network champions have started participating in meetings to prepare them to be the ambassadors of CalSAUS in their county. They completed the first round, T-12, of change readiness surveys. They completed their data discovery sessions, and their reports work group is taking the next step of completing a gap analysis to determine whether any reports will need to be refactored. The contact center discovery sessions are ongoing and currently working on call flow design. They're also gathering requirements and specifications for their lobby management needs with the goal of beginning procurement in January of next year. They're conducting next level BPR to refine business process decisions that have already been made and forming work groups when necessary. They started a new training work group with the goal of reviewing and supporting training related activities. They are working on sunset planning activities, including a review of peripheral systems that would be impacted by the decommissioning of CalWIN. For Santa Cruz County, who is also a wave 4 county, they're currently completing their change discussion guide prep sessions this week. And that is all the update we have for Region 1. Happy holidays all.
Great. Good updates. Thank you for that. And can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. For some reason, I lost my visual. Okay, so moving on to Region 2.
Again, this is Eduardo for Region 2. Just a couple of brief updates. Placer and Yolo County continue to work through migration defects as well as the overall growing pains of the new system. And Sacramento County has received their work plan and are starting to work through reporting, training, and contact center. And that is all I have for Region 2. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Eduardo. Moving on to Region 3.
Hi, this is Rachel, Region 3. So I do have some report outs from a couple of our counties. Butte County is reporting that they're recruiting again for their employment and eligibility specialist. They are finalizing their dual enrollment and telephonic signature policy in order to implement on January 1st, 2023. They are now also using 100% laptops instead of desktops for all of their staff. Del Norte County is reporting that they continue to struggle with staffing. They currently have vacancies in their integrated caseworkers, employment and training worker, eligibility specialists, office assistants, and fraud investigation. They are working on their CalAIM PATH program implementation. Humboldt County had a class of eligibility specialists that graduated last month, November, and they have a new class that just started this month. They also have an new interim program manager for their call center, who is Veronica Riggins, and they have a new program manager for the Welfare to Work program, James Thompson. Lake County reports out within their employment services division, they've implemented virtual group orientations. Also reporting a 75% vacancy rate in their employment and training workers and a 25% vacancy rate for social workers. Siskiyou County reporting out that they have a 50% shortage in their supervisory and management staff, and also that about 70% of their current line staff have been with the county for less than 18 months. Then finally, for Region 3, Trinity County is reporting that they held a Medi-Cal induction for staff last month to prepare them for the PHE lift and Medi-Cal unwinding, and also are hiring for eligibility supervisor, but they have reduced their vacancy rate in eligibility worker to down to 15%. And that is it for Region 3.
Great, thank you. Okay, moving on to Region 4. Deanna.
Good morning, everyone. I'll start with Fresno County. So at the end of October, Fresno moved to their next phase of CalSAW's transition and met with the CalSAW's TOS team. During the meeting, they were able to take a deep dive into their readiness checklist to explore what next steps are in their process. Change network champions for Fresno have been identified, and the kickoff meeting for their CNCs in Deloitte has taken place. Fresno also walked through their first T-12 survey. They had a 65% success rate, well above the initial goal of 50%, with a 63% positive outlook on migration. Moving on to Kern County, just recently walked through their CalFresh management evaluation, which took place November 14th. This year's ME was conducted as a hybrid model with the exit and entrance meeting held virtually, while observation of the program access was conducted in person. 3 offices were reviewed during the visit. Also in Kern County, CDSS and Kern are working on the water pilot program, which is extended through August of 2023. It was slated to end at the end of this year. Kern agreed to continue the pilot, which provides a $50 cash payment to their CalFresh household to purchase bottled water without having to use their CalFresh benefits that are spent for food. Only selected zip codes within Kern met the eligibility criteria. Currently, over 20,000 CalFresh households are participating in the pilot. Also in Kern, they're busy meeting with their CAO and law enforcement partners on developing the new CalAIM process, which is set to begin January 1st, 2023. The process has been somewhat difficult with the shortage of staff, not only from the DHS agency, but also within law enforcement. Moving on to San Joaquin, they've started another eligibility class with 24 trainees. They've also opened testing in order to get a new list of candidates established for 2023. As they have close to 60 vacancies to fill, they're also moving their case processing component directly to under eligibility supervisors. So trainees are actually out on the line, so they can hire more trainees and hopefully retain them. Also in San Joaquin, their executive team has met over the last week or so to do strategic planning for their next year. They decided that their focus would be effective communication and excellent customer service. They plan to look at their current office lobby to maximize the customer experience, as well as explore possible office expansion to other cities within their county. They also plan to add more kiosks to the lobby so that clients can upload documents, and will continue their Benefits Cal outreach. They're also planning to do some fun events with staff, such as Jersey Day, where staff can sport a jersey of their favorite team, or Band T-shirt Day, where staff can wear a T-shirt of their favorite bands. Moving on to San Luis Obispo, they just want to congratulate Placer and Yolo for a successful transition to CalSAWS. They much appreciate taking the time to share lessons learned and leading the way for Calhoun counties. In Stanislaus, CDSS completed their CalFresh ME the week of October 31st through November 4th. The review was conducted in person after being held virtual for the past 2 years. They also have a recruitment that opened and closed November 18th within the intent to hire 30 additional FSS1s for induction training. Their current training class scheduled to enter transition on December 5th consists of about 45 trainees, all designated for intake due to the high volume of applications consistently being received and low staffing levels. And that is it for Region 4. I hope everybody has a happy holiday and stay safe.
Great, thanks, Vienna. Okay, on to Region 5, Albert.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, here Region 5 wants to echo and congratulate Yolo and Placer. We are keeping our eye out there, wanting to learn from you. And if there's anything that we can do to assist, please feel free to reach out. Have a couple of updates for a few of our counties. Riverside reports that effective the 2nd of January, they have hired a new DPSS director, Charity Douglas. Charity comes with 20 years of experience, and this will allow Sayori to stop carrying double duty. Sayori will step out of the directorship for DPSS, yet as the assistant county executive for the county, she will still continue to have oversight of human services departments, including DPSS, but she will also be leading some key county initiatives. San Bernardino reports that in the month of October, the Human Services Departments, along with the CAO's office, came together to recruit some funds for those that are experiencing food insecurities, with their theme of "Because You Are Essential," and they are gladly reporting that they were able to raise $15,000 for donations for this cause. Ventura County reports lots of activities as they conclude their T6 surveys. Their testing for interfaces are going great. Their training assessments or training assignments for their staff have been are out. They are purchasing more kiosks, and those items are on track to be received by their go live date. So everything in Ventura seems to be going fine as they prepare for their go live. And lastly, here in San Diego, we are commencing our training efforts, trying to identify and secure training rooms, the staff, completing our surveys. We do apologize to the Deloitte team for our delay, but I think we're back on track. And we're just super excited to continue in this path. And that's all that we have to report.
Hey, thanks. Lots of activities going on in the counties. And then now on to Region 6. Winna.
Okay, no updates to Region 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was speaking, LaShonda. I was on mute. I was just talking. I'm sorry. Can you hear me, Cindy? Okay. So just really quickly, no updates on the program side, but we are continuing to prepare staff on the line side for the rollout of the help desk on next week. We are also continuing to hire additional eligibility staff to keep up with the demand of our applications. We do have our line offices also preparing for CalFresh ME. We too are finalizing our department's strategic plan, and we currently have our Adopt a Families campaign going on right now to support some of our the families on our caseload during this holiday season. And on behalf of DPSS, we want to wish everyone a very happy and safe holiday season. Corey, do you have anything for DCFS?
Corey's actually not available, so I'm filling in for him. The only update that we have is he said we're working with CSS to review data dashboard for the manager's ability to see key indicators for eligibility staff.
Okay, any more updates from Region 6? Okay, and any questions or comments related to any of the updates? Didn't see any hands raised. Okay, well, great. Thank you, everyone. I think that's led us now to the last of our meeting agenda. And also wanted to wish everyone a happy, safe, and healthy holiday season. And we'll see everybody at the important meeting in January. And just turning it over to John for any final comments.
Nope. Thank you, Cindy. I think we wrapped up our last PSC of the year nice and early. And thank you. And I echo the happy holidays to everybody. And we look forward to a very productive 2023. And we appreciate all your time that you guys have invested in CalSAWS Benefits Cal. We know it's a lot of work, but we are very optimistic about our future together.
Great.
Thank you,
I
Cindy.
agree. Thank you all.